Transform. Why can the China-Iran railway reshape the geopolitical landscape? Why has energy transportation undergone a new revolution? Hey everyone interested in international affairs. I'm Old Liu. Today, I've got some massive news to drop, something truly impactful that will give you a fresh perspective on the entire global landscape. On June 3, 2025, a train arrived at Iran's Aprin Inland Port. This wasn't just any cargo train, it departed from Xi'an, China, traversed mountains and rivers, and reached its destination in 15 days. Don't underestimate this train. Behind it lies immense power to change the world's geopolitical and economic landscape. Yet, this news went unnoticed by most, with only Al Jazeera reporting on it. Today, I'm going to take you on a deep dive into the untold, astonishing secrets behind the opening of the China-Iran railway. Next, let's explore this world-changing railway saga together, seeing how it reshapes the energy transportation paradigm and rewrites the geopolitical script. Xi'an Railway, breaking a century-old maritime bottleneck. For a long time, trade from China to Iran primarily relied on maritime routes. This traditional path involved navigating the congested Strait of Malacca and then the heavily guarded Strait of Hormuz, taking 30 to 40 days for the entire journey. Moreover, this shipping lane is entirely under the surveillance of the US and its allies' navies. Think about it, the narrowest part of the Strait of Malacca is only 2.8 kilometers wide. If the US wanted to cause trouble, it could paralyze the strait in as little as 72 hours. According to statistics, 60% of China's oil imports and 42% of its maritime material transport must pass through this area. A U.S. military base is also stationed nearby in Singapore. Since the 1990s, the U.S. has repeatedly fined, inspected, and detained Chinese vessels for various reasons. Our ships navigating there were truly on tenterhooks. Now, let's look at the China-Iran railway. After its opening, the transportation time is directly halved, taking only 15 days from Xi'an, China, to Iran. Furthermore, it's a purely land-based transport route with no U.S. military bases along the line, completely circumventing maritime blockades. For both China and Iran, this significantly enhances strategic security. For China, the energy lifeline, long constrained by the Strait of Malacca, now has a new breakthrough, gaining unprecedented strategic depth. For Iran, it has a stable foreign trade channel, allowing it to sell oil, natural gas, and other resources more securely. This railway can truly be said to have broken a century-old maritime bottleneck, reshaping the new order of international trade transportation. It shows us that in today's globalization, the traditional model of sea power control is not impregnable, and the rise of land power is changing the map of world trade in an unexpected way. In the future, it won't be so easy for the US to manipulate us by controlling maritime shipping lanes. 2. Explosions and whistles, just a coincidence? Let's turn our attention to the special timing in June. On June 3, the China-Iran railway officially began full operation. For Iran's economy, this was undoubtedly a shot in the arm. However, just 10 days later, on June 13, Israel suddenly launched a large-scale airstrike directly targeting Iran's nuclear facilities and military command centers. Is this timing too much of a coincidence? While there's no direct evidence currently linking Israel's bombing to the railway's opening, in the grand chess game of geostrategy, there are rarely so many pure coincidences. From the perspective of Israel and the United States, the completion of the China-Iran railway is like a severe blow to their plan to contain Iran. For a long time, they have relied on economic sanctions and maritime blockades as their trump cards to suppress Iran. But now, the China-Iran railway gives Iran new vitality. Iran can use this railway to bypass sanctions and sell its resources. Once its economic situation improves, Iran will have more confidence in international competition and be harder to suppress. Therefore, launching a military strike just after the railway opened, before it could achieve large-scale transportation capacity, serves to create chaos, deter Tehran, and send a strong signal to Beijing. From their strategic thinking, this is highly logical. This is like Israel's bombs being a furious response to the whistle of the China-Iran railway, a desperate struggle of sea power against the rise of land power. But they didn't expect that this would only expose their hegemonic facade more clearly to more people and further strengthen China-Iran cooperation. China and Iran will not be intimidated by such petty tactics and will continue to stride forward on this newly opened strategic channel. 3. The Steel Dragon, carrying core bargaining chips. This China-Iran railway isn't just about shortening transport time. The cargo it carries represents core bargaining chips crucial for national survival and great power competition. For Iran, this is a lifeline. Long-term U.S. sanctions have restricted Iranian oil exports and also blockaded Iran's foreign trade through the dollar system and SWIFT settlement system. But with the China-Iran railway, the situation changes. Iran can transport goods by rail and adopt a RMB/local currency settlement trade model, bypassing the dollar system and SWIFT blockade, thereby converting oil, natural gas, and other resources into national income. It's said that after the railway opened, Iran's oil exports have recovered to about 70%. Moreover, with this independent and stable foreign trade channel, Iran stands firmer in its dealings with the Western world, no longer suffocated by U.S. sanctions. This is like a person who has been bound for a long time finally finding a way to break free, giving Iran more possibilities for future development. For China, this is a safety valve. Energy security has always been a top priority for our country. Last year, China imported about 4 billion barrels of crude oil, half of which came from the Middle East, primarily by sea previously, which carried significant risks. Now, with the China-Iran railway, we have gained a stable, controllable land-based energy import channel, which is one of the most core strategic goals of the Belt and Road Initiative. This fundamentally enhances China's energy security level in the face of potential maritime conflicts. At the same time, this is a crucial step in China's Go West strategy, projecting our economic influence into the Middle East, the world's energy heartland, through this railway. In the future, our voice in the international energy market will be stronger. This is like adding a solid insurance lock to China's energy security, giving us more confidence to cope with various challenges in the complex and volatile international situation. 4. The value of the Central Asian heart, far beyond logistics. Many initially thought that the China-Iran railway merely solved logistics problems, shortening transport time and avoiding maritime risks. But in reality, its value goes far beyond that. The true revolutionary significance of this railway lies in activating and integrating the heartland of the Eurasian continent, and Kazakhstan is the key ventricle of this heart. Kazakhstan, the world's largest landlocked country, is not just vast grasslands, it's a hidden treasure trove of strategic resources. Take tungsten, for example, a key material for manufacturing advanced weapons and aerospace equipment. Kazakhstan holds the world's largest tungsten reserves. Then there's chromium, known as the industrial vitamin, a core component of stainless steel and special steels, with reserves and output ranking among the world's top. And of course, uranium, the cornerstone of nuclear power and nuclear deterrence. Kazakhstan has the world's second largest uranium reserves and the largest output. China's Belt and Road Initiative's strategic layout in Kazakhstan has a deep underlying logic. Take the deep processing corn project invested by Jilin Fufeng Group in Kazakhstan. It not only ensures China's food security but also integrates Kazakhstan's agricultural resources into China's industrial system. The entire cotton industry chain built by Hebei Lihua Group means that China and Kazakhstan are no longer simply buying and selling raw materials, but collaborating on production. China's Southern Power Grid's export of ultra-high voltage power transmission technology not only helps Kazakhstan solve power transmission problems but also exports China's technical standards and energy network architecture. China is building an internal circulation economic and security community with itself as the core, linked by resources and industries, and deeply complementary. In the future, this railway will transport not just containers, but also minerals, energy, and grain from Central Asia, as well as deeply integrated industrial finished products, becoming a true economic and security lifeline, closely connecting the Eurasian continent and bringing a new transformation to the world economic landscape. Via the return of land power, rewriting the rules of the game. The opening of the China-Iran Railway is a landmark event, proclaiming that in the 21st century, the rules of the geopolitical competition game have changed. Previously, aircraft carriers, warships, and fighter jets were the key determinants of the world power map. Now, it's different. Railways, ports, optical cables, and unified technical standards are becoming new tools to reshape the world power map. To protect this strategic artery, Iran has even adopted a deep earth strategy, burying some key railway sections deep underground and reinforcing them to nuclear-proof standards, a truly immense determination. Looking at the conflicts in the Middle East, while they continue, the underlying logic has changed. Some countries are still convinced that bombs can solve everything, but other countries are already paving a path to a new world order with steel and sleepers. Land power is returning, and it's coming strong. In the future, countries around the world will have to reconsider the importance of land power when formulating strategies. Those countries still clinging to old sea power thinking will eventually be left behind by the train of the times. China is standing at the forefront of this wave of land power's rise, leading the world towards a new development pattern. Alright, that concludes today's in-depth interpretation of the China-Iran Railway. The story behind it is too fascinating, and every detail concerns the direction of the world's pattern. If you're interested in international affairs, remember to follow me, and let's continue to track these world-changing major events together. See you next time.